If you're new in town or just new to this whole podcast thing, you're tuning in to Law by Night, the podcast that discusses all things vampiric with no fear of breaching the Masquerade. In this episode, we are going to go through everything you need to know in order to create your own playable mortal in the Chronicles of Darkness, or protagonists as the book calls them. Before we properly sink our teeth into tonight's episode, I wish to tell you what you'll need in order to follow along with me to make your character in the Chronicles of Darkness. First and foremost, you'll need a copy of the Chronicles of Darkness core book, either as a physical or PDF copy if you are a weirdo or allergic to books or something. If you are playing the game old school with the archaic devices known as pen and paper, you may have a friend or two who's willing to lend you their copy, but as more and more mortals are seeking the likes of Discord and Roll20 to play, it is highly unlikely someone will just lend you a book from afar. Once you have the core book and any other books you want, you'll need a character sheet. Drive-Thru RPG doesn't easily provide PDF copies, so you'll have to look elsewhere to find an interactive PDF character sheet. For this episode, I'll be using the mrgon.rocksolidshells.com interactive sheets, but there are others available should you wish to use a different format. With that very brief preparation shenanigans biting the dust, one can now begin to create their character. There is no system or dice roll to be made when determining your character stats, unless you really want to, of course. As mentioned previously, the Chronicles of Darkness core book focuses on the creation of mostly mundane mortal playable characters. This world of darkness is a dark reflection of our own. Corruption runs through the government, private organizations, and various subcultures. It is a world very similar to our own. The technology is the same, as are the petty emotions, desires, and ambitions that drive us out of bed each day and night, as the people in this world are different things altogether. In this world, werewolves, mages, demons, fairies, mummies, vampires, and even more horrific creatures all exist. As the mortals you play as in the Chronicles of Darkness, you investigate and learn about whatever it is that you're looking for. You may be a group of young friends who hear strange noises in some relative's cabin home in the mountains, or clubgoers who see something they shouldn't in the alleyway. You have a ravenous hunger to learn more. Perhaps you are using this book to create mortals that are to be embraced by a vampire, go through their first change as a werewolf, or experience a few bad dreams and become a beast. Whatever the purpose, there are already plenty of questions you can start asking yourself. What drew your character in? What are they looking for? What are the answers they are hoping to get, and what would stop them from investigating any more? How does this character explain their supernatural experiences? Through faith, spirituality, or science? Chances are, it is not their entire life. They probably have a job, friends, family, and hobbies outside of the supernatural. What sort of person were they in life? What did they do? How did they go about doing it? Or perhaps that's all they knew. What do they think of this existence and the world outside, and how are they coping with it? Such questions will also help you fill out most of the boxes at the top of the character sheet. Name is your character's name, whether it is their actual name or a pseudonym. Age defines how old they are, preferably in years. Player is your name, and if you're struggling with this, then perhaps reconsider your life choices. Concept defines your character's notions, occupation, and potential role within the group. Chronicle is the name of the game you'll be playing in. Faction is tied to the groups that exist within the God Machine Chronicle and are the ones found in the various Chronicles of Darkness splats. For the purposes of this tutorial, I will be leaving this blank. And finally, is group name is the name of your group, if you choose to have one. Pretty self-explanatory, really. There is also virtue and vice, which makes up your anchors. These will help you retain your self-sense and drive your behaviour. You use one word to summarise said anchor. Acting toward either virtue or vice allows one to regain a point of willpower, a finite resource you may use in the game for certain events. A character's virtue is their highest calling, the personality trait that represents who they are when they're at their best. Behaving in accordance with virtue gives the character a sense of satisfaction and reaffirms their sense of self. Vice is a character's short-term comfort. It is the easy way out, the personality trait they take comfort in to avoid confronting their actual feelings or problems. As for my example character, Jim Schafer was a love child of the late 1990s. They grew up breathing as many video games as he did oxygen and digested more internet culture as they did hot school meals. Despite being told he was good looking, mainly by their overprotecting mother, Jim was ostracized for being a nerd, a geek, a sad lowlife that will forever die alone. Coming out as gay and demi-mask during their later teen years didn't do much to improve their life, but that is mostly behind him now. Those people are long gone and are fairly content working in IT at a local school. Jim Schafer, or Red Wire, that's R3DW1RE_, all cap letters, as they are known on many social media and forum sites, would learn about themselves and the world through anonymous strangers. When the world spat in their eye for his sexual orientation and mocked their technical prowess or ambiguous gender, they found a digital home on the internet. They would dig and explore and find new themes, some of it dark, frightening, and very supernatural. Definitely too dark and frightening for the average Joe. But rather than flee or scoff at its inauthenticity, Jim dug deeper and became quite obsessed with what would many dub as wild internet cryptic conspiracies. Jim found others like himself, new friends that so happened to live in the same town, others who collectively reckon they found something at the abandoned church. It could be nothing, but it could be something, and Jim wants in. Now with their online buddies, collectively known as Oculus Drift, so named after the group's favourite classic video game, they go and poke about the things they probably shouldn't be poking. Regarding Jim's anchors, his vice and virtue come very easily to me. He is very ambitious, and his virtue, eager to learn and try new things, as it allows him to be in more online circles, as well as the few real-life ones they have to force themselves into. However, he is easily excitable and can rush into things too quick too soon, which makes him quite the hasty individual, which I feel is an appropriate vice. Now that you've established some lore regarding your character, you should have an idea of what sort of person they are when you assign points into your attributes. How do they solve their problems? Fighting, thinking, or talking? How would they naturally interact with the world? The attribute section is made up of 3 categories: mental, physical, and social. Each of the attributes starts with 1 dot, and then you distribute 5 to a primary attribute, 4 to a secondary attribute, and 3 to a tertiary group, however you please, providing none of them exceed 5. Jim is smart and good with computers, with coding, fixing, and dealing with viruses, meaning they would have a fairly high intelligence and wits. He's not terribly sociable, but he's not an idiot. Jim is not very athletic either, but I can see them being dexterous given with all the gaming and tinkering with tech he has accomplished over the years. So, mental is the primary attribute, social is the secondary attribute, and physical the tertiary group. So what have we done with Mix Schafer? Well, the total intelligence is 3, wits is 3, and resolve is 2, strength is left at 1, dexterity is 3, and stamina is 2, presence is 3, and manipulation and composure are 2. Dice rolls in Chronicles of Darkness games are usually made up of 1 attribute plus a skill, as there are many ways of demonstrating feats of strength and intelligence, unless you're wanting to, deadlift a horse for example, as that would be pure strength by my reckoning at least. The skills are divided into, from top to bottom, mental, physical, and social. Similar to the attributes portion of the character sheet, these are divided into primary, secondary, and tertiary groups, whose points cannot exceed 5 either. The primary group gets 11 points, the secondary group gets 7 points, and the tertiary group gets 4 points. Once you've done this, you can assign some specialties, which are particular areas of expertise the character has, which allows you to add a die to a specific role. For example, if your character was an iPad expert and was attempting to repair their mate's iPad, you would gain an additional die when repairing it. You put 3 specialties into any skill you have placed a point or more in. You can place multiple specialties to a skill. But what about Jim here? Well, again, we're going to focus on the intelligence, computery, nerdy, geeky stuff, so let's see what we've done. Jim has 3 points in academics, 4 points in computer, 3 points in craft, and 1 point in investigation. Drive has 3 points, empathy has 1 point, expression has 2 points, persuasion has 2 points, and socialize and streetwise have 1 point. Computer has a specialty in searches, Craft has a specialty, repairing PCs, and Drive has a specialty, motorbikes. Next we move on to merits, which are not like the other traits on the character sheet. Merits are things like resources, talents and allies you can pull from to help you out in the Chronicle. You have 7 dots to use when picking them. Jim has 2 points in Danger Sense, 2 points in Encyclopedia Knowledge, Status has 1 point, and Striking Looks is 2 points. We are reaching the end of the Chronicles of Darkness character creation. Now we assign some advantages to fill in some missing bits in the character sheet. Size begins at 5. Willpower equals resolve plus composure. Health equals size plus stamina. Speed equals 5 plus strength plus dexterity. Initiative equals dexterity plus composure. Defense is the lower of dexterity plus athletics or wits plus athletics, and then you pick 3 aspirations, which are things your character wants to achieve by the end of the chapter. So what have we done with Jim? Well, as stated previously, the starting size is 5 and integrity is 7, which I forgot to mention a moment ago. Speed is 9, defense is 3, initiative modifier is 5, health is 7, and willpower is 4. As for the aspirations, the first one, learn 1 new thing about each member of the group. The second one, find out what's in the church. And the third one, learn why Papa ran away. Once you've finished adding those final touches, you can finally say that you've made your first playable mortal in the Chronicles of Darkness. Yes, the book has all that you need to understand the character creation process, but I found that it sometimes helps to have someone walk you through the process, rather than nag your storyteller 100 times. To be kept updated, follow the Law by Night VTM Twitter and Instagram pages to find out when we upload each episode. You can also find out by subscribing to the YouTube channel and clicking on the little bell, as you'll be immediately notified when the latest episode is live. Until next time, farewell.